Hi, welcome to another session of How to Do Digital Marketing, where we help people learn everything they wanted to know about digital marketing, the science and the art behind digital marketing. For more information and to get several resources, tips, and guides, please visit howtododigitalmarketing.com. And today, in today's session, we are going to touch upon a very important topic. Digital marketing components that we were talking about are essentially six in number. The six components are, first of all, is your website. The second is search engine optimization or SEO. The third is social media marketing. The fourth is pay per click, or as many people call it, PPC advertising. The fifth is email marketing. And the last but not the least is content marketing, which essentially is the core of today's digital marketing. So let's take a look at each of these six components, starting with the website. The website is your digital calling card. Just as in the real world, you would use a visiting card to share your information or a brochure to share your information about your company, your products, or your services. The website today is also like a digital calling card. It is your super salesman. He doesn't take holidays, he doesn't fall ill, he doesn't go on vacations. He works for you 24 into 7, 365 days a year. And you can use the website to communicate your company's products, brands, or services in an interesting manner. Remember, today technology allows you, design technology, programming technology allows you to become look as sexy or as hot or as big as any of the biggest giants you can see on the internet. There are simple tools like WordPress, which are called content management systems. We will touch upon these in subsequent sessions, but broadly, there are tools like WordPress, Joomla, and Drupal, which are content management systems, which allow you to completely design and put up your site in a matter of days instead of weeks or months. The second very important aspect, if you're looking at using digital marketing for your business, is search engine optimization. So, what is search engine optimization? SEO is largely the entire process and the practice of improving your ranking so that when somebody types a search query, like you have got the word watch in this particular slide, your particular domain or your particular website comes up on page 1. The benefit is, of course, very clear. If you are on page 1, you get the highest number of traffic. If you are on page 2, you get lesser. If you are on page 3, you get even lesser. And let's face it, if you are not on first couple of pages, there's no point at all, because you will not get any search traffic at all or natural search traffic. So getting a website ranked on Google page without having to advertise is what search engine optimization or SEO is all about. One very critical component today is Facebook, which all of us are actually practically using. So social media marketing is one aspect that we simply cannot afford to miss out in the digital marketing spectrum. So social media networks are essentially networks like Facebook or a G Plus or a LinkedIn or a Twitter, and they're classified into either business to business networks or business to consumer networks. So a Facebook and a G Plus are business to consumer networks, and LinkedIn and Twitter are business to business network. Advertising is another key component of digital marketing, and unlike traditional forms of advertising, let's take an example of television. Today, if you want to advertise on television, you would go to a television channel and say, I want to show my ad or 30-second clip on these XYZ popular programs. And the advertiser would take your money and show it. And you would have to pay the advertiser money for just simply showing your ad to a lot of people, irrespective of whether they respond to your ad or don't respond to your ad. But on the digital medium, bulk of our advertising works on what is called as a PPC model or a pay per click model, where you pay as a user only when somebody clicks on your ad. You do not pay when somebody just simply sees your ad and does not respond. You can imagine as a business owner or as a professional, the distinct advantage this kind of a medium allows you to actually save on your money. So today, your money works far more effectively with a much greater ROI as compared to traditional forms of advertising because of one simple factor. You're only paying when somebody clicks on your ad. You're not paying when nobody clicks on the ad. And there are multiple advertising platforms which are available. Google is a very popular, which is called Google AdWords. You can do display advertising, you can do banner advertising, you can do search advertising on it, you can even do mobile app install advertising on it. Facebook is the largest media network apart from Google, which is there. There's over 130 million people in India on Facebook. Globally, there's over 1.1 billion people on Facebook. LinkedIn is a great medium if you're looking at B2B audiences. And of course, then there is good old Yahoo, which is still very strong. Email marketing is something which I think all of us are exposed to on a day-to-day basis. We get tons and tons of emails from all kinds of advertisers selling us all kinds of things, right from Viagra to maybe Flipkart or a Snapdeal or Amazon trying to sell you something. So email is a form of communication which sells your products, services to potential prospects. And it is a huge business, it's a huge medium. And the reason why it is so popular as a digital marketing medium is because it's very cheap to send out email actually. And it is the most used as well as the most abused form of digital marketing because it lends itself to spamming or sending out unsolicited mail. So if you look at your mailbox today, you'll probably get 10-15 mails a day from people you simply do not know. It is called spamming and it's not a good thing to do in terms of digital marketing. But if you do it properly, it can be one of the most effective tool in digital marketing. The last but not the least is content marketing. Now, content is essentially nothing but the communication or the messaging that you put out on the internet medium. And today, content marketing lies at the core of what we call as digital marketing. There's no digital marketing can be done if you do not focus on the content or the messaging that you're sending out. It involves reaching out to influence and engage your prospects. This could be in text forms, it could be in visuals, that is graphics, or it could simply be also in YouTube or videos. And it is a core across whether it's social media, whether it is SEO, whether it's advertising, whether it's your website, whether it's your email. Content has to be at the core of your strategy. Content has to be the core of what you're doing on the digital front. And it starts from the website and extends to across all forms of messaging and communication. So these, my friend, are the 6 components of digital marketing. So there's website, there's SEO, there's social media marketing, there's email marketing, digital advertising, and content marketing. Now let's get into quickly and try to understand how do you create an online presence with a website. As I mentioned in the first starting of the session, the website is your super salesman. It is what engages with people 24/7, 365 days a year without getting paid at all. And as a salesman, it can do the best job for you in terms of actually communicating what you want to communicate in the right manner to the right audience whenever the audience is looking for buying your product or buying your service, or even as simply as understanding what it is that you are offering to them. It's an online representation of a brand, and therefore it is one of the most important digital assets that you must own and that you must be extremely careful in terms of building. You can project your company as one of the largest in the domain by simply creating a very nice looking, good content related with good content in the website and actually project yourself as far bigger company than what in reality you are. Because remember today, in one of the sessions that we covered, the globe is your market. You are no longer selling when you are selling anything on the internet. You're no longer selling to a small locality or a small city or even a small state or even a small country. You could have customers coming to you from across the globe. And therefore, you need to be very clear on what your website is communicating. Please remember, what people see, hear or read about you online is what they will perceive you as. And therefore, content has to be at the core of whatever you do on your website. When you're thinking of creating a website, or whether you're thinking of revamping an existing website, you must follow a certain logical process in building a website. If you follow a certain process, you can be reasonably sure that the end result will be something that your customers would like to have and something that your business could benefit from a growth perspective. The first objective or the first process is to set the objective of your building a website. Remember, like I mentioned again in the earlier, it is your salesman. So you need to be clear, what do you want your salesman to do? A lot of people ask and say that I want my website to simply communicate what I do. Some people say I want a website to act as a lead generator, which means that I wanted to generate inquiries for me. For some, it could be simply to deliver some information. These are various objectives that you can set for your website. And based on the objective, you need to design your website and also the content around that objective. The next step is to understand what is the audience you're targeting. Remember, on the internet, everybody is there. So you could have a 13-year-old as well as to a 65-year-old person. So who's your audience? It could be rich, it could be poor. Everybody's up there on the internet. So who's your audience? You need to define a target audience very clearly. And the best way to define a target audience is to define them in two parameters. One is in terms of demographic parameters, which is kind of age. What age is he? What gender is he? Is he male? Is he female? Who is your audience? Because the gender will define how you want to play around with colors. The male audiences react differently to different colors. Female audiences, you might want more subtle and softer colors. The age will define the kind of content and the kind of style of writing of the content on your website. The second important aspect is in terms of imagery. What is imagery? Imagery is what people perceive you to be. Are you wanting to project yourself as a young brand? This would be great if you're selling, let's say, something like a shoe or something like a sports category or something like a entertainment, movies, fun stuff. But if you're selling something which is very serious, let's say you're selling high-end machinery or let's say boilers, you would need to make it very, very strong, solid business to business. And that's the imagery that you want to project to the people. What is the imagery? So imagery is very, very critical. And the last part, as you can see from the audience's imagery, is your content tonality. What is the tone in which you will speak to the audience? It should be young, funky. It should be old, straight, modern, business to business, and logical. What is the tonality? So your audience, your imagery and the tonality will set the benchmark of what your projection of what people will perceive you as a company to be. The next part is actually defining the content plan. So what is the content plan for your website? You will need to define what will go into your final website and what is the structure or the layout of the content. So you might have, I'll want to put out a content with respect to products, with respect to services. I want to put up customer testimonials. In what format will the testimonials be? Will it be simply text-based testimonials, or would you have video testimonials of your clients and customers? So these are stuff of content that you need to decide before you actually start developing your website. Because the more amount of time you spend in planning your website, the better your website is going to become. The next part is also in terms of what is the experience a user is going to go through when he goes to your website. All of us, for giving an example, all of us love the iPhone when it got launched, or the iPad or the iPod, simply because the experience of using it was so unique and so nice and so fun that all of us simply loved the iPod, simply loved the iPhone. And as a result, it got copied by a lot of other people. So user experience will define how a user will actually integrate or interact and engage with your website. Obviously, the better the experience, the more sticky or the more time the user is going to spend on a website. So the more time a user spends on the website, the more beneficial it is to a company. Think of it as an example of a retail store. You want customers to walk into your store, but you don't want them to walk out immediately. You want them to browse your store. You want them to go from counter to counter, look at stuff, whether you're selling garments or shoes or books, because you know that the more time the customer spends in the shop, the more likely he's going to buy something. It's no different on a website. So the more time a user spends on a website, the better it is for you in terms of changing his perceptions or getting him to feel that this is a company or this is a product or this is a service that I want to buy. Once you've defined the content, the audience, the imagery, tonality, you then need to get into actually development of a website. And the development of the website starts with actually something which is called a wireframe. Now, what's a wireframe? A wireframe is a dummy layout of your site. There's no programming, there's no design. It is simply like an architect drawing. And there are tools like mockup, which actually are very user friendly, which allows you to showcase what will go on which part of the, like you've seen in the slide, you have on the top left, you have a logo, then you have a heading, you have text. On the left hand side, you have an image coming, then you have a menu coming like this on the top. So this is a layout. The benefit of wireframing is that it helps you to mentally visualize how your final website is going to be structured. Also, it helps the designer when he's designing the website to know what placement he has to look at each place. It also helps the programmer to decide what page goes into which link, what link goes into which page. And the biggest benefit is that it helps avoid costly time and budget overruns. So wireframing is very critical in a development process. So if you're developing a website or if you're revamping an existing website and working with a freelancer or with an agency, my strong recommendation is that you should insist that a wireframe is shown to you before you actually start programming your website. The last part of developing a website is understanding and taking decisions on what technology platform should the website be built in. Today there are a lot of available technologies. In fact, there are so many technologies that it is quite confusing. The two most popular technologies which are used to build websites are PHP and .NET. So these are two most popular technologies. Both are equally good. My favorite is obviously PHP because it's open source and open source platforms are great. So you need to decide on which technology to use. And you also need to work on the coding and the layout, and which can be done parallelly with the graphic designer and the programmer. And once you have built the website, you could use develop the website from scratch. But today a lot of people use content management systems like a WordPress or a Drupal or a Joomla to actually build websites. So these are structured layouts which are available, which are a lot of themes, a lot of layouts. So it's like going into a store and saying, I want this kind of a design, and that kind of design is available. So there are available pre-structured designs or pre-structured wireframes available across all categories, across all domains in both WordPress, Joomla and Drupal. You could use any one of them. My favorite is of course WordPress. It's because it's far more easier to use, and you could use that to actually build your website. But before you build your website and you actually launch it, you need to test a website. And what do you need to test? You need to test for errors. Are there any programming functionality errors which are happening? Are there any bugs, software bugs? And are there any bad links? Take it from me, 99% chance is there that when you build a website from scratch, you are likely to have errors on the website. I have yet to see a 100% error-free website developed by a small agency or a freelancer. So it's always good to have a testing done before you actually launch the website. Once you are ready to launch a website, and for that launching a website, you need to put your website somewhere. So that is what is called as a hosting. You need to host it somewhere. So you have got this great product which you have built, but you need to put it up in a particular shop. So think of a hosting service provider as somebody who has who is saying that you can display your product here. And because a lot of people come here, you can show them from this particular site. So some of the common hosting service providers which are very, very popular is obviously the biggest one of them is GoDaddy, which is godaddy.com, or you can go to AWS, which is owned by Amazon. My personal favorite is Cloudredo, which is very easy and far more cheaper than either GoDaddy or AWS and far more effective. So these are the three links which are there. So that's godaddy.com, then that's aws.amazon.com, and that's cloudrunner.net. So you could use any of these three. You may have your own preferred hosting service provider. By all means use it. Not a problem at all. So one question which you need to answer, a lot of people tend to ask us, is that should I do it myself or should I get somebody to do it for me? So it's either DIY or DIFM. Do it for me and do it yourself. So if you're looking as a digital marketer, you need to consider this. Some people prefer to do it themselves, especially if they do not have budgets. Some people, if they have budgets or they do not have the capability, they prefer to hire a freelancer or a small agency or a large agency to actually build a website for them. However, if you're doing it yourself, there are some easy to use DIY platforms which somebody without much of technology knowledge can easily use. The three big ones are obviously WordPress, my personal favorite. There's Weebly and there's Wix, and here are the three links which you can use to experiment, and each of them have a lot of free themes. You could use them to do up and create and practice yourself. If you want more resources, tips, guides or courses, I would strongly ask you all to visit www.howtododigitalmarketing.com. Please remember, this is a content platform aimed with only one single objective, that is to help people learn digital marketing. So if you found this useful, please do share this presentation, this video with your friends, with your colleagues, with your business partners, and invite them to subscribe and join howtododigitalmarketing.com. Thank you once again, and I look forward to interacting with you and meeting you at the next session. Thank you. Bye-bye.